most of the fundamental ideas of science are essentially simple, and may, as a rule, be expressed in a language comprehensible to everyone. One strength of the communist system of the East is that it has some of the character of a religion and inspires the emotions of a religion. To the master's honor all must turn, each in its track, without a sound, forever tracing Newton's ground. Too many of us look upon Americans as dollar chasers. This is a cruel libel, even if it is reiterated thoughtlessly by the Americans themselves. There could be no fairer destiny for any physical theory than that it should point the way to a more comprehensive theory in which it lives on as a limiting case. One may say the eternal mystery of the world is its comprehensibility. Isn't it strange that I who have written only unpopular books should be such a popular fellow? All these primary impulses, not easily described in words, are the springs of man's actions. Morality is of the highest importance, but for us, not for God. Knowledge of what is does not open the door directly to what should be. It was the experience of mystery, even if mixed with fear, that engendered religion. I shall never believe that God plays dice with the world. I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. The world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. Learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Only two things are infinite, the universe and human stupidity, and I'm not sure about the former. I very rarely think in words at all. A thought comes, and I may try to express it in words afterwards. Small is the number of people who see with their eyes and think with their minds. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted with important matters. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. Peace cannot be kept by force, it can only be achieved by understanding. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. As far as I'm concerned, I prefer silent vice to ostentatious virtue. No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Once we accept our limits, we go beyond them. A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new. Weakness of attitude becomes weakness of character. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. Look deep into nature, and then you will understand everything better. The only reason for time is so that everything doesn't happen at once. It's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer. Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious. We shall require a substantially new manner of thinking if mankind is to survive. The release of atomic energy has not created a new problem. It has merely made more urgent the necessity of solving an existing one. The value of a man should be seen in what he gives and not in what he is able to receive. Logic will get you from A to B, imagination will take you everywhere. We can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. The only source of knowledge is experience. You can't blame gravity for falling in love. Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. Technological progress is like an axe in the hands of a pathological criminal. It gives me great pleasure indeed to see the stubbornness of an incorrigible nonconformist warmly acclaimed. It stands to the everlasting credit of science that by acting on the human mind it has overcome man's insecurity before himself and before nature. Our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature and its beauty. He who can no longer pause to wonder and stand wrapped in awe, is as good as dead, his eyes are closed. If you are out to describe the truth, leave elegance to the tailor. The monotony and solitude of a quiet life stimulates the creative mind. Any man who reads too much and uses his own brain too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. Put your hand on a hot stove for a minute and it seems like an hour. Sit with a pretty girl for an hour, and it seems like a minute. In matters of truth and justice, there is no difference between large and small problems, for issues concerning the treatment of people are all the same. To raise new questions, new possibilities, to regard old problems from a new angle, requires creative imagination and marks real advance in science. Concern for man and his fate must always form the chief interest of all technical endeavors. Never forget this in the midst of your diagrams and equations. Nothing is more destructive of respect for the government and the law of the land than passing laws which cannot be enforced. When you are courting a nice girl, an hour seems like a second. When you sit on a red-hot cinder, a second seems like an hour. That's relativity. Whoever undertakes to set himself up as a judge of truth and knowledge is shipwrecked by the laughter of the gods. I believe that a simple and unassuming manner of life is best for everyone, best both for the body and the mind. All religions, arts and sciences are branches of the same tree. An empty stomach is not a good political advisor. Love is a better teacher than duty. I think and think for months and years. 99 times, the conclusion is false. The 100th time I am right. Confusion of goals and perfection of means seems, in my opinion, to characterize our age. Few are those who see with their own eyes and feel with their own hearts. People love chopping wood. In this activity one immediately sees results. You can never solve a problem on the level on which it was created. True art is characterized by an irresistible urge in the creative artist. Anyone who doesn't take truth seriously in small matters cannot be trusted in large ones either. Force always attracts men of low morality. You cannot simultaneously prevent and prepare for war. The fear of death is the most unjustified of all fears, for there's no risk of accident for someone who's dead. Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind. The pursuit of truth and beauty is a sphere of activity in which we are permitted to remain children all our lives. I cannot imagine a God who rewards and punishes the objects of his creation and is but a reflection of human frailty. The process of scientific discovery is, in effect, a continual flight from wonder. God always takes the simplest way. The attempt to combine wisdom and power has only rarely been successful, and then only for a short while. Solitude is painful when one is young, but delightful when one is more mature. Human beings must have action, and they will make it if they cannot find it. The grand aim of all science is to cover the greatest number of empirical facts by logical deduction from the smallest number of hypotheses or axioms. I do not believe in the God of theology who rewards good and punishes evil. The man of science is a poor philosopher. The faster you go, the shorter you are. There comes a time when the mind takes a higher plane of knowledge but can never prove how it got there. Science is a wonderful thing if one does not have to earn one's living at it. The most incomprehensible thing about the world is that it is comprehensible. Sometimes one pays most for the things one gets for nothing. It is only to the individual that a soul is given. Never lose a holy curiosity. God may be subtle, but he isn't plain mean. Intellectuals solve problems, geniuses prevent them. The gift of fantasy has meant more to me than my talent for absorbing positive knowledge. The whole of science is nothing more than a refinement of everyday thinking. Joy in looking and comprehending is nature's most beautiful gift. Gravitation is not responsible for people falling in love. Without deep reflection, one knows from daily life that one exists for other people. Information is not knowledge. The environment is everything that isn't me. A man should look for what is, and not for what he thinks should be. Never do anything against conscience even if the state demands it. Most people say that it is the intellect which makes a great scientist. They are wrong, it is character. Imagination is more important than knowledge. We cannot despair of humanity, since we ourselves are human beings. The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It is the source of all true art and science. The high destiny of the individual is to serve rather than to rule. I love to travel, but hate to arrive. Let every man be respected as an individual and no man idolized. God does not play dice. Politics is for the present, but an equation is for eternity. It is my conviction that killing under the cloak of war is nothing but an act of murder. Try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value. Before God we are all equally wise and equally foolish. Everyone should be respected as an individual, but no one idolized. I live in that solitude which is painful in youth, but delicious in the years of maturity. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge but imagination. Nationalism is an infantile disease. It is the measles of mankind. It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. Common sense is the collection of prejudices acquired by age 18. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. Everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. There are two ways to live. You can live as if nothing is a miracle. You can live as if everything is a miracle. No amount of experimentation can ever prove me right, a single experiment can prove me wrong. Any man who can drive safely while kissing a pretty girl is simply not giving the kiss the attention it deserves. Pure mathematics is, in its way, the poetry of logical ideas.